venture to California?
Oh, it was fun. It was definitely like a lot of traveling
Yeah.
trip. We put I think 2,400 miles on the OD
Yeah, that's a good one.
in in all of 7 days. Well, 6 days really. Yep.
Nice.
So
Nice, nice.
um yeah, it was but no, I got to see Yosemite for the first time. That was awesome.
Oh, very cool. Was it crowded?
No, they brought back like the reservation system.
Oh, good. Okay.
So like I saw like Indians, but not like the feather kind.
Oh, okay. Like 7-Eleven Indians?
No, it was mostly uncrowded.
Okay.
Um, very few. I mean, obviously, like the campgrounds are like all at capacity, and like you go to like the popular like places that are easy to get to with like a bus or a car, and they're I shouldn't say they're mobbed. They're like there are people
Hmm.
like there. But you're never like stuck in a crowd and can't see shit and stuff like that.
Oh, okay. That's not so bad then.
Like like I've been I think we went to Yellowstone and they don't have any permit system or whatever and like
Hmm.
went over the Yosemite Falls and it's like not even that difficult of a hike to get down to it, but it was mobbed.
Yeah.
Um like there was like a line to go up and see the falls once you even finish the hike, which again was like just stairs.
Perfect.
So like any place that's easy to get to, there'll be lots of people. But like,
Hmm.
um, yeah, no, Yosemite this time around, like we were at like the Glacier Point, which is one of the big vistas. You can get there by bus or by car or whatever,
Hmm.
and still like there was no wait to like just go stand at the edge and look over the valley and stuff like that. You're not like
Word.
fighting around people being like, okay, when are you gonna leave?
Oh, that's good.
At like the busiest time of day, and then on the trails, there's just no one.
Hmm.
Period.
That's good. Did you hear what
But
happened
we
to?
did choose to hike 4,000 vertical feet
Ooh.
in 4 miles in 102-degree heat.
Oh, how did that feel?
You know, it made me feel a lot of things that I haven't felt in a long time, like every square millimeter of the surface of my feet.
Yeah.
Um,
Your feet feel
no,
enormous after a hike
we
like
like
that.
hiked. Yeah, we didn't climb in Yosemite. We did climb elsewhere, but like rock climb.
Mhm.
Um, but we didn't have trad gear nor the confidence to really do anything serious
Mhm.
like ascending 3,000-foot vertical walls. We went up and touched El Cap. I did pull a move. I bouldered El Cap.
Oh, hell yeah. Hell
I
yeah,
free
brother.
soloed El Cap for
Hell yeah,
about 5
brother.
feet, and then I down climbed.
5 foot record, brother. Hell yeah.
Um,
Mm.
so but no, we like ascended the entire valley on foot, which is like imagine doing that entirely via pull-ups.
Oof.
And it's like, oh, gives you an appreciation for what Alex Honnold did,
Yeah, for real.
especially because you can't even rest on the rope or whatever.
Yeah,
I mean, you can rest at a ledge, but that's it.
exactly. Did you hear what happened at Yellowstone recently?
Oh yeah, shit blew up.
Yeah, dude. Like I was at that spot literally a couple weeks ago, but like one of the ones in the
Oh
geyser field just went off.
yeah, yeah, and it's hilarious because everybody watches the explosion initially, but like the first thing I noticed was like how goofy the people at the explosion responded to
Yeah,
it.
they're just like, oh.
Oh shit! Oh fuck!
There's like this
What's
one
going on?
older
It's like
dude, like the video I saw, this one older dude with like just like a baseball cap and like athleisure wear, and he's just like hobbling away in sandals, just like no real drive to survive.
there's like parents that like leave their child behind.
Oh my god.
You're like, what the fuck? Where your instinct is not to just like immediately grab the. It's not like the smallest child. Like it can,
Yeah,
like
it's not like you're getting
elementary
attacked.
school age.
It's not like you're getting
But you can
attacked by
pick.
a bear and just throwing your weakest child at it. You're like, well, we've got 8. Fuck it, whatever. Like,
And then yeah, there's like people like not even running. They're kind of like looking over their shoulder, kind of like sidestepping
like,
away.
oh,
Like,
is this
oh,
actually a problem? Is this part of this? Like, is this? Did they push a button? Does it do this sometimes? Is this like Splash Mountain?
dude, it's really boggles the mind
Mm.
that people like go to national parks and you read the signs and you realize, oh, like
This
people
could
don't
kill me.
realize like nature is real
Yeah.
life.
There was
And
a
we like,
video. I didn't watch the video because like it was some like 9-year-old getting flung by a bison because it got too close and like its parents were like, yeah, go ahead, go pet the bison, honey, and it just got
yeah,
tossed.
they think wild animals are tame.
Yeah,
They think fucking geysers are just like air bubble bursts, not like boiling hot water.
that.
They think that like cliffs, like, oh, like they put a net under there or something like that.
Oh
I'm
yeah,
gonna
it's
hold my phone over the edge and then like I'll like reach for it when I drop it and shit like that. Like these people have no concept that like um th- there's something profoundly uh destructive about growing up and living your entire life in an artificial environment. I'm Kaczynski pilled on this
yeah.
very
We
hard
need
right now.
a Butlerian jihad. Just
You're
destroy the
gonna have to.
machines.
Oh, sure. Well, maybe,
That
maybe.
actually reminds me when I was in the Grand Canyon last year, like there's this one part where I was driving along one of the main roads. There's an elk on the side of the road, which is kind of cool, and these fucking idiots, of course, in a red Tesla, are pulled over out of their car trying to take a photo like real close to it. And the elk was just like whatever, like it was just eating, but I was just like, you fucking retards. They're probably like 15, 20 yards away from this thing, just taking like phone photos. I'm like, this thing will kill you, man. Like, it's not
Dude,
Bambi.
the deer and elk kill more people than like the bears
Yeah.
and wolves do. But
Like, deer
when's the
are
last
like,
time they got killed by a wolf in the
I,
U.S.?
I don't
To
know.
be
Like,
real.
Sarah Palin, if you want to call in real quick and let us know that, I'm sure you know that stat from your armored wolf hunting helicopter in the Alaskan plains.
Like I'm sure it happens in like um India all the time or something like that. But
Probably. Or like Pakistan,
uh,
Africa. Oh, we should play the intro real quick. Let's actually get it going. Hello, everyone, and welcome to The Altar, episode 146. A lot of shit has happened since we have last convened, and of course, it all happens. We're in a time when we all have shit going down. First and foremost, of course, Trump almost got 360 no scoped on live TV. Came real close. Turned his head at the last second, and the bullet just grazed his ear. And then Biden actually drops out of the fucking presidential race, and Kamala, Kamala Harris, is now the presumptive Democratic candidate who nobody actually voted for in the primary and nobody actually wanted because she was literally out in like the first round in 2020 because didn't she get bodied by like Tulsi Gabbard or some shit?
yeah, yeah. Tulsi called her out for being. I mean, it was like it's one of those things where like if you're an actual like leftist, you can call other people on the left out for being hypocrites. Like
Mm,
it doesn't work for the right wing, right? Like they
no.
don't care if like Ben Shapiro says this, but if Tulsi's like, hey, when you held people with exculpatory evidence for nonviolent drug offenses and then laughed about when you were asked if you ever
Smoked
smoked weed
marijuana.
before,
Yeah.
and then you held prisoners past their sentences to use as forced labor and wildfire fighting. Um, like that. That's the thing. Like, if you're a right winger, you need to like be pro Kamala about those things.
Yeah, exactly. What if you're a
But
left
like,
winger, that's like instant death.
you joke with your like, your aunt or whatever, who's like, oh, I'm happy with Kamala now being the nominee, and you're like, I didn't think I liked her that much, but then I found out she had slaves, and that was awesome.
Yeah, really. You don't have to convince me anymore, man. I'm already voting for her.
she
I
put she put like African American black people in jail for
Oh yeah.
nonviolent drug offenses.
Well, she's
Fuck yeah,
Caribbean black,
that's
so
awesome.
she's like, listen, you African black motherfuckers, you are staying in prison. My Caribbean brothers, however, yeah, man.
Speaking of which, have you seen the stats of African-born immigrants in the U.S. versus American blacks
No, I have
on
not. What?
income stats?
Oh, income.
Af- yeah,
I
have you
imagine
seen it?
African immigrants are much higher than American.
African immigrants to the U.S. Make just as much money as white people
Oh,
do,
hell yeah, hell yeah.
and African American descent slaves are like basically they have the same GDP per capita as like Mexico or something like
Oh, well, that's
that. Just an interesting anecdote there.
fun
What
factoid.
um wonder what the consequences of that statistic are.
I don't know, but you're definitely. I think you're ready to shed your title of less racist Max pretty soon.
It's not even racism at that point because you're like
It's
pointing out that it's not
technically
nothing to do
accurate
with race.
racist Max. Oh, what's up, Death Chilada? She says she got dragged by the wig on stage. Yeah, that woman can't complete a sentence without laughing. Well, a lot of that is just because she is constantly attempting to be unburdened by what has been so that she can be burdened by what will be. Or whatever the
Old
fuck that
Compton
means.
Cam.
Compton Cam. The
Where
Montel
was she
Williams
DA? I
groupie.
thought it was like San Francisco or something like that.
I think it was I think it was San Fran, actually. We can hang on. Let's go to our Jamie device here. Kamala DA.
Um, yeah, she was the San Francisco district attorney
Okay, so she
and
she gay
and
bashed.
the California attorney general.
Oh, that's why that state's so fucked up. All right, one of many reasons, many such cases.
Many such cases. Okay, well, interesting, interesting. So yeah, San Fran
Hmm. For a couple
is
of
a place.
days, I actually thought Biden was dead. I'm still not convinced.
I have we seen like a real live stage rally performance?
No,
I mean,
but
people at
there's
this point like there's such a microscope on him that like they're like noticing like the doubles or the masks or stuff like that.
the post Botox Biden versus like hasn't had Botox in a week Biden. Like we can tell,
Yeah, it's wild that people are like suddenly
waking up to it.
um waking up to it.
I
Death
like
Chalad has dubbed me statistically racist, Max.
statistically racist Max. I like that. We're gonna go with that. On that, actually, though, I wanted to say, like, I do find it very funny how, like, people who, over the past, I don't know how many years, who have never, ever believed in conspiracy theories in their lives,
Oh
are
yeah, and they're
suddenly
like
like,
Trump
yeah,
wasn't shot.
I don't know, man. Trump probably staged the shooting. He looked too fucking good getting shot and not dying, man. I don't know. It's like, well, you're not wrong. The shooting probably was staged, just not by Trump. Like, it was probably staged by the Secret Service and the CIA and probably the FBI, which is why the head of the FBI is like, well, we're not sure if it was actually a bullet, even though it was on photo. It might have been shrapnel or something. Like, it's.
No, we're getting conspiracy theories directly from the FBI about
Yeah,
something that was recorded from like 8 different angles in
seriously.
HD in
Like,
color.
believe
Like,
not the evidence of your eyes, believe only the evidence of the party, what it tells you to see and hear.
that's the thing about the JFK assassination, right? Is like there were like maybe 3 angles, 2 are in black and white. They're not continuous. They're not shot from like a tripod. They're not stabilized. They're on film. It's like really kind of hard to see what's going on. Like
Mhm.
there's only optical zoom and like you're like, oh, what
Yeah,
like um and like here we have like I remember the day of like yeah, there were like
everybody
5
was there.
different angles and like
Yeah.
they just keep coming out too. And like there's photographers,
They're
professional
literally
photographers
frame
with like
by frame
telephoto
by
lenses
frame.
right
Yeah,
underneath him,
yeah.
and they're like taking frame by frame, like they have like the
Hang on,
shutter
I'm
open,
gonna
and
find this one photo because like it's literally like bullet going by his head, him reaching up, and there's like blood on his ear.
yeah, it's absolutely wild. Like, oh, maybe it glanced the teleprompter too, but like honestly,
Maybe,
that could have been a thing. Is like the refraction through the teleprompter made the guy aim slightly off, right? Because he was
maybe.
from the side, right?
Yeah,
Um, but yeah, really sloppy work, if you asked me.
sloppy job, Mossad.
Um, yeah, it's they even tried to have like the um short Secret Service agent standing right in front of Trump
Oh my god.
after the
Yeah.
shots.
And then there was that one, like the female one, who was like hiding behind the stage, behind the group of agents, like piling on top of Trump. But this is the image I was talking about in the first frame there. You can see the
Yep.
bullet, and then he reaches up and is like, oh, there's shit, there's blood on my ear. Oh shit, I was just shot. But we don't know what that was. It's impossible to tell.
The FBI can't tell.
No one knows.
But I'm not saying sloppy work as in anybody should try anything like this. It's just like with the JFK thing, like the FBI really had their thing together,
Yeah.
you know?
Mm.
Um and people obviously still asked questions and stuff like that, but they've been mostly able to bury it. It's like a running joke. Like anybody who's like looked into it a little bit is
Mm.
like, well, this is weird
This is very weird.
at the minimum.
I
And then
Yeah. I have some friends who went to. They were both in the army, and one of them like was a kind of a serious, like has a body count, and they went to the book depository, and they're both pretty qualified, and they're both looking at it and they're just like, well, I never was really sure if it was a possible thing to do, if it was just like a trick of the angle, but like looking at the angle and thinking about the rifle he used, yeah, I'm pretty confident I could pull that off. Like I probably do better, actually. I'm surprised he missed the first shot. Like, like, thanks, guys, for letting me know that you could probably pull it off better.
well, that's a fucking Marine, right?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
and what's his face? Oswald was Marine, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And like had actual marksmanship training. It's just like if you're gonna get some patsy FBI, like they're going for a kid who got kicked off the rifle team in high school.
No, actually, so the high school
Oh, or
came
was
out.
that just a myth or
So
whatever?
it was like they spread all this shit, and this one kid was like, "Yeah, I definitely remember him getting bullied in school for being conservative." And the school was like, "Actually, we have no record of him trying to join the rifle team. And there's no record of him being
Why would they
bullied."
keep records of
I
that?
mean, of course, yeah, but it's like,
It's probably like a tryout, like one day, like, oh, show up after
well, that's what they
school.
said. It's like he could have just come and sucked and nobody realized it, but like nobody can actually verify him going and trying out.
Yeah, it's
So,
like he didn't get far enough to even fill out the application or whatever.
exactly, yeah.
But I mean, we're gonna pretend that they're like keeping track of all that shit, and it's just hilarious that he's in a BlackRock commercial.
Oh my God, right?
Like
Like,
how many
coincidence.
crisis actors? Like how small is the pool?
It must be
Right?
like,
Like
it must be dwindling. They must not pay anymore. Like, it used to be pretty good. I don't know what happened. Like, Obama pulled all that funding for like putting shit into the media, and then all of a sudden, all the crisis actors just dried up, man.
what? Actually, I think the problem might be is like social media is that there's like a face recognition of everybody
Mm.
like since they were teenagers.
Mm-hmm.
And like you can't have just like these new faces appear without people being like, "Hey, I've seen that before." Because like
Mm-hmm.
everybody's 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon from everybody on social media at this
Mm-hmm.
point. And so you're like, "Oh, I've seen that person appear in that photo from my one cousin or something like that." But it's crazy. Like he didn't have any social media up, but
Yeah.
he's appeared in a commercial. And
He's in a
then
commercial for BlackRock. He's also like politically active as a progressive, like donated money to Act Blue in 2021, and like ostensibly registered as a Republican to vote against Trump in the Pennsylvania primary because it's a closed primary and you have to be a member of the political party, either GOP or DNC, to vote in that primary. So, but yeah, it's. I also like that like he used like a rifle with like no. He just used irons and actually almost made his. Almost pulled it off.
I mean, I didn't know that. I didn't know he was going with irons, just irons.
That's from what I've
I
heard.
mean,
Like,
I I think one thing that contributed to this is that there's like nowhere on the East Coast that people um get to shoot beyond 100 yards that
that's
often.
true, actually. Like, he's only had to hit like what was it, like 180 ish, somewhere around there was
Hmm.
the distance. So like
I thought it was
100,
135 or 140 or
135. But I
something like
mean,
that.
still though, like if you could even get out to 100, like that'll give you the skills you need. Like it's really hard to find anywhere like depending. Pennsylvania's a little better about gun laws than like New York and shit. But like when I was
I
growing
get
up,
that, but there's no public land for shooting,
exactly, yeah.
and everything's forested in. So when you do get there, yeah, it's like 50, 100 yards
Hmm.
best stuff. Like for that. Not that we're not
No,
encouraging people to get better at this kind of
no,
thing.
absolutely not. Absolutely not. Like you should not set targets up at 150, and 200 yards and practice taking silhouette shots. Like you should absolutely not be doing that at all. However,
It's just we're just honestly like I'm. Do you think this is the better universe?
I think so. I
It's
think
not-
like this is like it's basically it's Civil War, cheaper groceries. Civil War, cheaper. No, I'm kidding. I just had to ruin that
I
meme.
I doubt we'll get cheaper
No,
groceries,
probably not.
but um, the Civil War part would have been nasty,
It would have.
and you don't want that shit.
No,
That's the
absolutely
thing
not.
that like blows me away about these liberals who are like joking, like, "Oh, he shouldn't have missed," stupid shit like that.
Hmm.
Where it's like,
You don't want
um,
that.
you don't actually want that. You like it. They treat politics like national parks
Yeah,
in a reverse sense. They're like, oh, they don't realize that there's like real consequences to things that you cannot control. Um, and yeah, I obviously like they've been planted this poison seed that like, oh, if obviously you would strangle baby Hitler, and Trump is real Hitler, like adult
exactly.
Hitler,
Like he's
and
totally Hitler, and we need to stop him in order to save democracy. But we wish him well, and we hope he recovers.
so it's like they've been so riled up about this for so long, and like who they look at us, they're like, oh, you're just naive about how dangerous Trump is, and it's like you're the one that's fucking naive, thinking like the good universe to live in is one in which the leading presidential candidate was assassinated in color HD footage,
Yeah,
like just a couple months before the election.
we don't want to be in that world, guys.
God. So I mean like I we would see like what would the Republican convention, that's the one spot that could save it.
I mean, arguably, you could make the argument the Republican convention wouldn't have been much different if Trump had gotten shot, because it kind of seemed like they didn't really plan on him being there, and it was very weird, like who they had
Oh, I
talking, and
didn't watch it.
like I just saw bits and snippets, and I don't give a shit. But it was like they had Amber Rose up there talking, and everyone's like, "Why the fuck is she here at the GOP convention?" And like
And oh,
they
okay.
did like they did like a Hindu prayer or some shit, and people are like, "Why the fuck are we doing a Hindu prayer right now?" Like, and like I've seen on
Well,
social media
they were
too.
like,
It's
oh, the only other candidate who got a significant number of delegates would have been Nikki, right?
exactly, yeah. Plus, of course, JD Vance's wife is Indian, so
Now forgive me, is she Hindu or Sikh?
uh, hang on.
Jamie Machine. Let's
Beep
bring that
boop.
up.
Um, Usha is a practicing Hindu and told Fox News in a recent interview that the faith made her mother and father good parents, really good people. Okay.
Okay. So it's interesting.
Chick-fil-A should come out and sponsor them and have Usha do a commercial and just see if anybody gets the underlying joke there. Hindu. What Chick-fil-A's most famous advertising are like billboards with
Oh, eat,
cows begging for their lives for you to eat chicken. Like don't eat,
eat
like
more
go
chicken.
eat more chicken. Yeah, man.
Uh,
Oh,
all right. So yeah, we're living in the better universe here,
I
I
think so.
think.
I
For
think so.
now. For now, it
For
could
now, it
we
could
could
change.
uh but yeah, Biden finally
Yeah,
was
step down.
ousted. It was it's wild to me that like he spent like weeks saying like I'm not dropping out.
He did literally say too, like only the Lord Almighty could convince him to step down, and he stepped down. So therefore, the Lord Almighty convinced him to step down, meaning the Lord Almighty is real. So thank you, Joe Biden, for being continuing to be a crypto Catholic, banning Roe v. Wade, and uh,
Um but it's seeing like the reaction of like my left coast relatives to this in like real time was genuinely like hilarious.
same. Like
to, to,
my blue blood Democrat parents. My dad was a little more real. Like he's just like, yeah, this is not good. Like as much as I don't like Trump, this is really like bad. We're very turbulent. My mom though is like totally like, you fucking staged that shit, man. That's bullshit. False flag. Like you said, Mom, you don't know what a false flag is. You can't be using that word. You just learned that word. I know this for a fact.
no, I'm talking about the Biden replacement thing though.
Oh no, that's wild to me. Also that like they had to pick Harris, otherwise they can't use all the fucking donation money that they got for Biden already. And they were bragging. Didn't they get like $86 million in like the first day Kamala was running? And like I read a Zero Hedge article, so of course it's Zero Hedge taking a grain of salt in that like a lot of the donations are actually just like bots, like registered
Oh
some
yeah,
like
they're shuffling money around.
yeah,
They're just
exactly.
moving it. And like I do wonder exactly how they do it, but it's like you can just have like robo phone numbers attached to fake names and make a Venmo account pretty
Mm-hmm.
much with like a fake uh checking from, you know, like all you need is like a couple of banks that are like cool with you doing this and they can automatically generate. I mean, Wells Fargo was like making fake checking accounts for years and got caught finally doing it only because they were trying to make extra money off the side
Mm-hmm.
um for doing it where like yeah, just take a couple banks and it's not like no banks ever contributed to a democratic political
No,
campaign,
of
right?
course not. No, never. Like they would never.
uh or bank executive or anything
No,
like that. That'd be ridiculous.
doesn't happen. Not
uh
at all.
but no, like yeah, just it would take like how do you move $80 million in a day um that
Just
deliberately?
grassroots
Like
organizing, man.
people were
Like
not people like you asked them the day before like, oh, what do you think about Kamala taking over, and they're like, oh, I don't know, I think
eh,
we need to have like a real primary and figure out who might be best. I kind of like Buttigieg more. Or I mean, Kamala didn't win a single delegate back in 2020.
yeah,
You got fucking she got real 360 no scoped by Tulsi Gabbard on
she did.
stage.
She absolutely did. Plus, like she's been
Which
helping
I
to
mean,
cover up this whole thing with Biden the whole time with like his health and his mental capacity. Like I still want to talk about this shit. How for years people were calling this out and they were just like, no, no, you're just making it up. You're just elder discrimination. Oh
that was
wait,
like
no.
the most fucking obvious thing
Yeah. And
we've
it's
been
like,
told
oh
for
wait,
3
shit,
years.
yeah, this is bad. All right, we need to replace him. Everybody agrees you need to step down, Joe. I'm not going anywhere, man. And like I'm still not convinced he's alive. I think part of the
No, that's the
reason they
thing.
had him drop out over the weekend is because they had that computer crash on Friday, and the AI program that they've been using to simulate Joe Biden's speeches is having issues. They got one more of him dropping out, but outside of that, he's in a tube like Mr. House in like a basement somewhere, just connected with like the other tubes and wires, and like they just can't take him out. Like he's just done. He's spent. He has to be in that tube forever. Anybody can only communicate with him for like this giant CRT monitor on the wall. It's done. So Kamala is here, and Joe will never be seen in public again. They'll announce his death. Like, I don't know.
It's
What?
yeah, it's too brutal, I think, for that. They don't want to do it back to back to back.
Yeah.
But the question to ask yourself is like, if you had access to the deepfake tools that they have, could you have made that speech and that appearance? The answer is very easily
Yeah.
yes.
Very easily.
Um, and like the fact that like it used to take like the Praetorian Guard to stage a coup,
Mm-hmm.
and now it's just like whoever has the login for the president's social media could just
Seriously.
post a
Let me
document.
let me just post this document and fire up the auto pen real quick. And oops, Joe Biden resigned from the campaign. Oh well.
Like what I did they finally like come to him and like give him the shit? They're like, look, you have outlasted your usefulness. You're no longer ahead in the polls. You're not
Yeah.
pulling ahead anytime
The
soon.
debate was
And
horrible.
you can either, I mean, this is the other way I imagine it happening if he is alive and
Mm-hmm.
like mostly together is like, hey, you have expended your usefulness, and we have the laptop from Hunter,
Mm-hmm.
and we can deep dive on all this shit because there's a lot of girls who me too'd um about you, Joe Biden, and there's a lot of footage of you sniffing girls' ears that we could play all night long on
Mm-hmm.
MSNBC if we really want you to get out of here, because you will be in court for a long time, worse than President Trump because we had to make most of that shit up. But um they could have they could easily like the case would have been sealed
Mm-hmm.
in a few minutes. They could just flash the photos and the diary entries and be like, "All right, what are you gonna do? You gonna have us play this on NBC tonight, or are you gonna say,
You're gonna just step
um,
down. You're gonna make it easy on us.
yeah,
You're gonna make it
you're
easy on
gonna
you.
yeah, the easy way, yeah, is you're gonna just post to Twitter. You don't have to show your face that much anymore.
Yeah, not really.
You can say you're just focusing on being president. That's fine.
But that does beg another question. Like, if he's not mentally fit enough to run for president again, how is he mentally fit enough to be president right now?
It begs the question of like, I think it's the same thing they did to Trump, right? Where Trump would say something and then like that person would nod their head and say, "Okay, yeah, we'll get to that." And then it just never would happen. And
Yeah,
it's whatever that person wanted to have happen at the
pretty
end of the
much.
day.
Like, who is
And
actually running?
that's actually the executive power, is like those people who are just like around those agencies.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Like, the
um,
presidential cabinet really is what's probably running things right now at the behest of like Jill Biden.
well, yeah, that's the other thing. I love the memes that were a week old that were like, congratulations to our second female president, Jill Biden.
Yeah, exactly.
And of course, like many people don't get that the 25th Amendment was about um, what's his fucking face,
Reagan,
Wilson,
Wilson, yeah.
and Wilson, his wife basically was president for the last 2 years because he had a stroke and like could barely talk.
You could say the same thing about Reagan too. Like, he was around, but like dementia really had a hold on him. And Nancy was, outside of
What
being
did
the throat goat, she was absolutely running the show.
when was it ratified? In 67. So,
Hmm?
um, interesting. Yeah, you know what's going to be is there a part where they have to um if they have to disclose that they've activated the 25th Amendment?
I mean, I think Congress has to vote on it.
Let's read it
It's
because
like it's
I'm really
kind of, I think it's introduced into Congress like kind of like, I guess it's an impeachable thing. Like you can impeach a president under the 25th Amendment, and like they would vote on it like a normal impeachment, as I understand it.
um in the case of presidential secession, the vice president becomes president.
Mm.
So that it just clarified that you don't need to invoke the presidential succession. It just is automatic. The vice president becomes the not just the acting president, but becomes president.
Mm-hmm.
Um, the vice presidential vacancy.
Speaker of the
Um,
House, isn't it?
Whenever there's a vacancy in the office of the vice president, president shall nominate a vice president who should take office upon confirmation by majority vote of houses of Congress. Section 3 is whenever the president transmits to the president pro tempore of the Senate and the Speaker of the House of Representatives his written declaration that he's unable to discharge the powers and duties of their office, and until he transmits them a written declaration to the contrary, such powers shall be discharged by the vice president as acting president. Now, the thing is, nowhere in here is it that they have to disclose this stuff
Hmm.
to the public.
Interesting.
That's what I'm seeing.
So is it possible they've already done it and they just haven't mentioned it? And
That's what I'm wondering out loud is like, is it possible that there's just like I mean, like they wrote it down and there's like a discharge of office and Kamala Harris is the um acting president right now, and Joe Biden's kind of just
there,
sitting there doing the thing that he's always been doing, which is eating ice cream.
Yeah.
And they're just like, okay, it looks too bad for us to be like, yeah, we let this guy be president for this long.
Death
We're just gonna keep
Chilada.
this a little bit hush. And then like we might find out in like a few years, or maybe it's 25 years, that like
They secretly did that and they just kept classified it for national security reasons.
yeah. So okay, here's one example. On November 19th of 2021, Joe Biden transferred his powers to Harris before undergoing a colonoscopy,
Yeah.
making her the acting president from 10:10 a.m. until 11:35 a.m.
Short window.
Okay.
Real quick. Death Chilada asked the question, who's the bigger throat goat? Nancy, Monica, or Kamala?
I mean, I know what I'd prefer.
Yeah.
I think it's the same, right?
Yeah. Monica?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Even if it's better from the other one.
Oh, so Death, you didn't specify. We're talking Nancy Reagan or Nancy Pelosi? Because I can think of a few people who would change their answer if it was Nancy Pelosi. Unfortunately.
Have you seen that picture of Pelosi, young Pelosi with JFK?
Yes.
Because, I mean, back then.
Oh, you know JFK hit that.
And who's Pelosi? Nancy Pelosi's dad. We were talking about JFK earlier, right?
Yeah, we were. Yeah, it all comes back, circling back.
Thomas D'Alessandro Jr. He was a politician. He was the mayor of Baltimore from 1947 to 59. What do you think that means? His father was born in Monte d'Andromo, Abruzzo, Italia. He was an insurance broker before he went into politics.
Insurance broker, huh? What kind of insurance did he sell? Like protection insurance, maybe?
So it's kind of it's interesting that people can't like read through the lines even to this day about stuff like that.
Well, if you don't have like a peer-reviewed source that has like repudiation and is published in a major mainstream article strain, then like I just can't trust you. You're a bad faith actor, bro. Like, do you just deny an official CIA narrative, my dude? Like, you can't be doing that here, man. We're gonna have to censor you and take away your Reddit gold. Downvote.
Oh. So, yeah, and then he has a young daughter that gets to meet the president and
Mm.
um, you know, ends up being the Speaker of the House for years and years and years. It has the best stock exchange
Best
trade
portfolio.
portfolio on earth.
Yeah, man. Like, there should be a Nancy index.
I thought there was one. It's
Unofficially, I
just
think
like
there is.
I just the thing is you can't capture like the day trades that happen where like she gets like the inside info like a week early and like on a Friday night like puts in for like, a short of
Yeah,
something
short
and
Boeing.
and then like Monday she's up $10 million on opening,
Yeah,
right? Like you can't index that because if you're always behind it, you'll just be hosed.
that reminds me of I think it was somebody posting on 4chan. Like, hypothetically, let's say I was on a Boeing aircraft, and while I was on this Boeing aircraft, the door, flew off in midair, and we descended several thousand feet, emergency wise. While this is happening, would it be considered insider trading if I pulled out my phone and went to my trading app and shorted Boeing stock as hard as I could?
The answer is I
No.
think no.
No.
Although isn't there a rule change that congressional stock trading ban was going
I heard something was
through?
proposed, but I highly doubt it went anywhere. Like,
Okay, the Senate Committee on Homeland Security and Governmental Affairs approved 8-4 a revamped bill that would ban members, their spouses, and dependents, and the president and vice president from buying or owning individual stocks or other assets.
hmm.
That was on the 24th. So
Oh,
yeah, yesterday.
oh, okay.
Yeah, I was reading stuff. I was on the fucking highway, interstate, and I was still reading shit. So a measure known as the Ending Trading and Holdings in Congressional Stocks, the Ethics Act,
Ethics
arrived
Act.
in old version agreement at the press conference earlier. It would bar Congress as well as President, Vice President from buying, selling securities, commodities, futures, options, trusts, and other holdings. It would require those elected officials and their spouses, dependent children divest from covered assets beginning in 2027, and increase penalties imposed under the 2012 insider trading law from $200 to $500 per
Oh,
violation.
oh, so throwing the book at him. Holy shit. That actually reminds me of a bill currently being passed by Senator Nuts from Arkansas. It's called the Diversity and Equity in Economic Zoning Bill. And I think it's actually going to do a lot for the economy.
Oh my goodness. I mean, it'd be one thing if they were somehow barred from actually buying the stocks, but if they're like, oh, by the way, the fine is
Oh,
is a
wow.
$500 tax on this $1 million trade you just made.
Yeah, man, you made $20,000 in 20 minutes. You can't do that. It's insider trading. I'll take that 500 now, please. I hope you learned your lesson. By the way, I'm running for Congress next year. Can I count on your support?
It's super illegal, guys. By the
Super
way,
illegal, guys. You can't do that, guys.
it's always funny when you read like, oh, something's against the law now,
Mm.
and the penalty is a $500 fine.
It's like, oh no, it's legal if you just pay a fee. Okay, perfect.
Okay, thanks.
Easy. Got it.
Uh,
Oh, what else happened? Like, Trump almost got shot. Biden got cooed.
he picked Vance
He
for
picked Vance.
VP,
Yeah,
right?
like, Vance is
How are you
proving
feeling?
He's kind of cringe, honestly. Like, I like the fact that he's at least young, but like that means nothing. And like, he made that comment. He's like, "Oh, I had a Diet Mountain Dew yesterday. They're gonna say that's racist or some shit," and everyone's just like, "What?" Like,
Honestly, that was kind of a based comment from him. I like uh it was like a genuine shit post.
I think it was an
And
attempted one, but like, it was not delivered confidently. That's the problem.
Mhm.
So, but I mean, we'll see what happens. I would like to see, who do we think Kamala is going to pick for her VP? Like, what milk a toast white man from the Democratic Party will be her running mate?
uh
Joe Biden?
Hunter Biden.
Oh fuck! Oh my god! Could you imagine that shit? Oh,
So do you know that apparently JD Vance reads Curtis Yarvin?
who's Curtis Yarvin?
Mencius Moldbug.
Sorry, say that one more time.
Mencius Moldbug? Moldbug?
Oh, Moldbug.
Curtis,
Okay,
yeah, Curtis
I'm
You don't you
I'm
read
familiar
radio or
with
anything?
I'm familiar with Moldbug, but like,
Oh, okay. Yeah, you if you don't follow Curtis Yarvin at all?
no, I don't. I really don't.
He's like
I live in a cave. Okay, like,
okay, so like it's just weird to be an ANCAP in 2024 and not heard of Curtis
listen,
Yarvin.
listen. I live in a cave behind a big rock. I have an ANCAP flag and a copy of the Road to Serfdom and a spear that is also a gun. So that's all I really need.
You got it covered. That's fine. That's
Yeah,
fair.
like I don't keep up with shit. I really like. I'll have to. Like I said, I've heard of Moldbug because I'm familiar with the red pilled by Moldbug meme. But
Yeah,
like I guess no, I've never really like looked into his stuff. I hmm.
it's sort of difficult to listen to him in like podcasts and stuff because he has such a roundabout way of speaking,
Oh
and he says and is like collecting
um
his thoughts. Like obviously his brain is running like 3 times as fast as he can physically speak. So like he comes up with an example of something that like turns into another example of something just to make a
oh
point.
that's
So he's like
that's the
really
tism,
difficult to
baby.
listen to. But he's best, I think, read as a writer. Um, yeah, his thing is the Gray Mirror.
Hmm.
Um, and so if you don't subscribe to the Gray Mirror, nice little email newsletter that you read
Substack.
occasionally. Um, or that I read occasionally, and there's a lot of good little insights in there. The guy is the most read modern like political philosopher I think on the right now. I don't know that you want to agree with everything that he says just because he was a completionist of like Rothbard and Hoppe. He is now like a right wing monarchy sort of, or like he's a post anarcho capitalist like monarchist, which is
Ah.
honestly something I obviously I read him, so I'm like I understand where he's coming from. I don't agree with him about it, but
Yeah.
I know where he's getting at, and I think he's just there like kind of scratching the um the Overton window a little bit wider on that side. Like he's like, oh, I'm going to be a little more shocking on this side. But no, he's like kind of blown up in the last few years. Like he's been on Tucker back when Tucker was on Fox News.
Oh, okay, that's cool.
Um yeah, it was a difficult TV appearance to watch because it's like, oh, suddenly like we're like discussing like Tocqueville, and there's an anecdote about like 18th century Persia mixed in on like Fox
Oh
News,
fuck
and
yeah.
I'm sure it like
The
completely
viewers are like, "What the fuck
blew
are
the
they talking
mind.
about?"
Like the fucking brain started oozing out of the ears of most Fox News viewers.
It's like that
Um,
interview Tucker had with Putin, and Putin goes into like hundreds of years of like Russian backstory between its like issues with Ukraine, and like Tucker is like,
no,
first,
like here's negotiations with the yellow tartars on the River Don, and you're like,
What?
Okay.
Like, what context could you possibly be building here? And it just keeps going. And like to us, it's like I don't know where I was gonna go. Like to us, it seems almost like they're trying to stall for time or just like feed us bullshit. But that's their genuine. They're like, listen, we have all of this history that we are calling on and using as justification.
If you would like to have a great, I think, introduction to Curtis Yarvin, he made an appearance across from Dave Smith
Mm.
on Michael Malice's podcast. You're welcome.
Oh, thank
About a
you,
year ago.
thank
That
you.
that's only an hour, or it's an hour and 8 minutes or whatever. But um, it is it's not really a debate, like a discussion between like, the Dave Smith side of
Sweet.
anarcho-capitalism and the Michael Malice like anarchism is kind of moderating, with Curtis being like the post-anarchist like devil's
Philosopher king
advocate basically.
monarchist.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the devil's advocate over there on the
Mm.
other side of like the anarchism. Um so I think it's a very he's definitely like in the ear of a lot of people who are sort of making the strides in the right wing, like dark renaissance.
Mm.
I don't know if that's the actual term for it. Dark
I've
enlightenment.
dark republicanism.
Well, it's not even republicanism. He like I don't think he's a big fan. Like I read his Substack and he's not a Trump
No.
fan or anything like that. He's like, but he knows how to phrase he's so read on like Italian Republican political like oligarchy philosophy. Like he's read Machiavelli forward and backwards, but he's also read Hoppe
Mm.
and like Democracy, the God That's Failed. And he like synthesizes the two, and you're like, it's really, really interesting if you
Mm.
like those things.
I'll definitely
I
have to check
I
that out.
I wish I was the first one to come up with that, but it's Curtis Yarvin.
Oof.
So yeah, JD Vance apparently has shaken hands with Curtis Yarvin.
Interesting.
People were trying to make it like a bad thing by saying like Curtis Yarvin wants to turn homeless people into biodiesel.
You don't have to convince me to vote for him, man. I'm already going to vote.
um
I just
it only
I
gets better
can't
from
wait to
there.
hear economic policy advisor Moldbug up to the podium, please.
No, Moltbug's takes only get better from there.
Oh, jeez. Okay.
Um so anyways, Harris's vice presidential pick. I think she's gonna go for like a cabinet member.
Probably. Yeah. I could see her picking Buttigieg or Booty Juice.
If they know that they're just gonna lose,
Yeah, like
right? Why
what
not why not have like the black woman and the
the
gay
white gay
dude
man.
on
Yeah.
the ticket and be like, look guys, we tried it.
We tried it. It
It
didn't
didn't
work.
work.
Now we're just hopefully this will just keep us from getting slaughtered on the down ballot vote, you know? Like
um there's Blinken, there's Yellen, Lloyd Austin, Garland, Haaland is the Secretary of Interior. She'd be a weird pick, but that'd be strange. Okay, Vilsack. Oh my god.
she will on
Um,
my sack till I advise.
he's the Secretary of Agriculture. Raimondo is Secretary of Commerce. Marty Walsh is Secretary of Labor. Health and Human Services is Becerra. Marisha Fudge.
There we go. That's gonna be it.
I just
Vice President
moused
Fudge.
over her picture. Let's stream share this. Let me stream
Oh
share this.
boy.
This is
Okay.
hilarious. Okay, I'm just gonna mouse over them, and you can look at their faces, right? Okay. Oh, we all know Joe Biden, right?
Of
We all
course.
know Kamala Harris. Anthony Blinken with those sunken eyes, the deaths of 40,000 Palestinian children, soaking them in. Janet Yellen, obviously, is the Secretary of Treasury. Lloyd Austin. He was the guy who could not be bothered to let anybody know that he was undergoing cancer surgery
Oh,
while the U.S. was bombing Yemen in an offensive operation.
perfect.
Everybody's like, "Where's the Secretary of Defense on this one?" And they're like, "Actually, we don't know."
Oh boy.
Merrick Garland, he's the guy who fucked up Waco and stuff
Yep.
like that.
Hmm.
Howland, so she's this Native American lady, I think, and she's interior. Vilsack. This guy comes out of nowhere. Like, who the fuck is he?
Vice President
Um,
Vilsack does have a certain term to it, certain ring.
Harris Vilsack.
Harris
Uh,
Vilsack.
Raimondo, Marty Walsh. It's just some dude, right? Like, you could find that dude at every single car dealership in the United States.
Listen, man, you
Uh,
really need to walsh the fudge out of your Vilsack. All right, that's fucking gross.
Javier Becerra.
Mm,
I don't think they're going to go Latino on this.
probably not.
Marisha Fudge. Here's Marisha Fudge. This is why I giggled.
Yeah. Oh, if you're gonna
Yes.
screen share, let's see it.
What is it still not showing?
No, it didn't show anything. I was thought you were gonna do it.
I'm screen sharing right now. Just accept the screen share.
There's no. Hang on.
Is it not sharing?
No, it's not sharing.
My Buffalo Samurai screen. You have to like go back to Discord and there's
Hold
not a
on.
view. I've just been talking like out of my ass here for 5 seconds.
We've been following what you've been saying, but like,
Okay. So
there's
it's
like no, there's
entertaining enough.
nothing. There's nothing showing.
Well, I'm streaming right now. It's like,
I
what more can I
don't.
do?
I
Okay.
don't. I'm looking. Hang on.
Okay. So
There it
Marisha
is.
Fudge.
Holy shit. Okay.
So here's Marisha Fudge.
Of course she's
We got beat
got
butt stuff.
glasses. Beat butt stuff.
Jennifer Granholm. I've never heard of this lady before. Canadian born. She can't be vice president.
She can't be
Okay.
vice president. Okay.
Miguel Cardona is the Secretary of Education. Dennis McDonough,
He looks like a toothpick.
Veterans Affairs. He looks stoned, but he's never smoked weed in his entire life. At the same time, Mayorkas obviously is kind of important in the administration. Is
The,
the Homeland Security?
the human thumb.
Oh, different Reagan.
Ooh,
That'd be hilarious. Harris Reagan.
there you go.
For the EPA. Office of Budget, Shalanda Young, Avril Haines, or the Director of the National Intelligence, CIA Director Burns. I mean, he's probably who's running most things in real life.
Exactly.
Catherine Chitai, Trade Representative. That's an
Interesting. Our
I didn't
trade
know that was a job title.
I didn't know our trade representative was Chinese. That's interesting.
Linda Thomas Greenfield, diplomat, ambassador to the UN. Okay, so Nikki Haley. Cecilia Ruse is economic advisors. Jared Bernstein. All right, whatever. Isabel Guzman. I wonder if there's any relation to Luis Guzman. I wonder. Eric Lander as a mathematician. Ecuador Harbar. Science people. Chief of Staff Ron Klein and Jeff Zientz. Huh. Tom Vilsack. This dude has been the secretary of the agriculture for like the last 25 years.
Damn.
Anyways, Isabel Guzman.
Mm-hmm.
Any relation to people? No, it doesn't mention anything. Okay. Well, anyways, out of that crew, I guess the only people who have name recognition are going to be like Garland and Blinken and Buttigieg and maybe Mayorkas. And the only ones that have any remote amount of likability are Buttigieg. So
I could see it being Buttigieg.
I think it's going to be Buttigieg. Buttigieg,
Booty gig.
Buttigieg. Um, that'll be interesting. Oh, the
Mm.
Secretary of Labor has yet to be confirmed.
Hmm.
Julie Sue is just acting, serving in an acting capacity because there's two of them. Is Adrian Podman, also for the housing and urban development. That's weird. Okay. Uh, strange. Speaking of stuff, did you know Harris, of her original staff that joined her in the White House, only 4% of them remain as her
Yeah,
staff
like
today?
96% of them quit due to irreconcilable differences or just like bullshit. It's because
So,
she just lays around all day taking quaaludes and drinking wine.
dude, she's got like the secret Quaalude stash on lock.
Oh yeah,
Like,
her
what
and
the
Hunter
fuck?
Biden hang out every other day. Like,
See, that's where the Hunter Biden like ticket comes in, right? Like,
hmm
I bet they rage. I bet they throw down together.
oh man, could you imagine just Kamala and Hunter Biden smoking crack on stage, the Democratic convention?
That would be the most unifying thing in America.
I can't. Just the only way to defeat Trump is for that to happen. It's the only way at this point.
You just when you're down big, like you got to throw a Hail Mary,
Yeah, you
right?
never know. Just smoking crack could be the answer.
You're gonna
So
lose anyways. You got to throw a Hail Mary.
exactly,
Okay, it
man.
doesn't
You gotta
matter if
look
it gets intercepted.
if you're gonna lose, look cool while losing. You can't go out like a bitch.
So smoke crack on stage at the
Smoke crack
DNC.
on stage. That's our advice to you. Well, anything else we want to go over? I think we got the meat and potatoes of everything.
Damn, the DNC is so late. It's gonna be on August 19th.
hmm
That's like
I
that's
wonder if
like a
there's
week
going to
from
be
now.
like a Bernie Sanders situation where another candidate gets like more votes, but they still like, yeah, we're picking Kamala anyway.
Honestly, RFK dropped out too early.
Yeah, he really did.
Because RFK, if even if he had been getting 20% or like 10% in the primaries this whole time,
hmm
he would have delegates and
hmm
he could show up at that fucking stage and he could tear that place down and say, like, you didn't have a primary. Now you're trying to shove Kamala Harris down our throats. And I was the only one out there calling this shit out because Biden was fucking demented. And like RFK, if he was smart, would have stayed in the Democrat. He wouldn't have ran independent. He would have stayed Democrat, and he could have fucked them up at this convention.
Could have.
At least made them look stupid, which is way more important than getting 10% of the vote in the
Exactly.
national election.
Exactly.
Is like making the Democrat, national convention realize exactly how. Like, I mean, maybe if you got 20% of the vote up until this point in the Democratic primaries, but then at the convention, if all this shit had still played out the same way and Biden was ousted from the nomination and stuff like that at the last minute, he'd been like, I'm the only one with delegates in this whole Democratic thing. And they'd still force him out,
hmm
but they would every it would wake up like a solid chunk of other Democrat voters. Just the problem is that they're not gonna see any of this. Like they just got fucking reprogrammed immediately. Like it took 2 days to be like, oh, I don't really like Kamala that much. To be like, she's gonna be the best president
Oh
ever.
my
I'm so
god.
excited.
I love all the celebrities that were immediately like taking to Twitter and like just getting fucking cut down and ratioed immediately. It was like the first wave of allied soldiers landing on Utah Beach, dude. Like Charlie XCX posted, she's like Kamala is brat and just tanked the album, tanked like her budding career, like it was bad.
Uh, oh, okay, I'm thinking of a different Charlie. Whatever. It's different. Okay, sorry. Okay.
No, it's okay.
Yeah, I think we covered it.
Yeah, I think
So
so. But
we can resume they turned history they turned the current event script up a little
yeah,
bit
man,
for us.
like
And
intensity
there's a
level.
slow There's a slow patch. There's like a filler season there.
Yeah, this is not a filler season anymore. We're like
No,
getting some meat and
they're like
potato shit.
every it honestly it reminds me of the final like half season of Game of Thrones,
Yeah.
right?
hmm
Where they're just like we got to pack it all in because we were wasting way too much time.
Please ignore the Starbucks cup on the table. Just like we'll get through this.
Okay,
All right,
cool.
everybody.
Well,
Thank you
keep
for
catching up.
joining us. We'll try and do this again next week, but we're all having a very busy summer. But until next time, stay safe out there. Don't go to any public rallies. I think at this point it's safe to say that this is not a good year for that. But you know what?
If you were going to public rallies, you need to find a better way and more profitable way to spend your time.
Yeah.
That's like
Or
the
like
lamest way to spend your life.
if it's an open carry rally and you're not gay about it, like you can go with like a plate kit, then sure. But like
Yeah,
I would just
that's like
not
the one
otherwise.
cool thing maybe. Like go pick up any kind of hobby.
Yeah.
Smoke crack
Smoke
is
crack.
is
Yeah.
the
Like JC says, smoke crack, stay black. And remember, avoid paying tax because taxation is theft.